Porsche's refusal to drastically change its design is not just a decision. It's a philosophy, a brand identity, a confidence that very few car manufacturers possess, and a legacy that has turned the German automaker into one of the most respected names in automotive history. While other brands chase trends, experiment with new dramatic shapes, or attempt visual shock value to stay relevant, Porsche simply evolves. Not reinvents, not rebuilds, just evolves. And that is the secret to why their cars look timeless. To understand why Porsche never changes its design, you must look beyond the shape of the car. You must look at the psychology and strategy behind it. Porsche knows that design is identity. The silhouette of the Porsche 911 is so recognizable that even people who don't care about cars can instantly identify it. That curved roofline, that wide stance, the perfectly rounded headlights, the muscular rear, all of these elements create a visual fingerprint that hasn't changed in 60 years. In fact, the 1964 Porsche 911 and the 2025 Porsche 911 look like they share the same DNA. Not because Porsche is lazy, but because Porsche is disciplined. The company believes in perfecting something rather than replacing it. They treat design like a language, and every generation is simply a more refined version of the last. Most manufacturers change designs every few years to catch attention because they're afraid of being forgotten. Porsche is never afraid. Porsche knows that it cannot be forgotten because it has built consistency. Consistency creates familiarity, and familiarity builds loyalty. When someone buys a Porsche, they are not just buying a car, they are buying a piece of heritage. People want to feel connected to the past, but experience it through modern technology. That is why the brand never strays away from its core lines. If Porsche drastically redesigned the 911 to look like a Lamborghini or a McLaren tomorrow, the world would reject it instantly. Porsche understands that the emotional attachment people have to its shape is its strongest weapon. The 911 shape represents stability, tradition, and authenticity. It reminds people of childhood dreams, posters on bedroom walls, and the sound of a flat-six engine roaring across generations. The design is iconic because it carries meaning. And here's what makes Porsche different. They don't change design because they don't need to. Their cars sell. Their cars age gracefully. Their cars retain insane resale value. Most brands chase trends because they're trying to keep up with the market. Porsche is the market. They lead by refusing to change too much. They lead by being timeless. Think about it. In fashion, trends come and go. In technology, innovation accelerates. In entertainment, attention spans shrink. But in automotive design, Porsche's timeless approach beats everything else because it is not tied to trends. Instead, it is tied to an ideal: perfection. The brand refines the same lines year after year, generation after generation, always improving aerodynamics, sharpening surfaces, enhancing proportions, but never losing the original spirit. And this level of commitment is why Porsche owners remain some of the most loyal in the world. They don't just drive a car, they become part of a culture. Porsche's decision not to change design is also deeply rooted in engineering. The company believes that form follows function. That's why the 911 shape has stayed consistent. Its rear engine layout creates a balance that is uniquely Porsche. Its curves help with airflow. Its stance enhances stability. Its proportions create instant brand recognition. Even when Porsche entered the electric world with the Taycan, they still kept Porsche DNA alive. The low, wide stance, the clean lines, the smooth surface language. Everything feels familiar even though it is completely new. Porsche doesn't abandon its philosophy even with new technology. They shape the future without erasing the past. This is something very few brands can achieve, because most brands don't have the heritage Porsche has. Porsche's legacy is its biggest strength. What truly makes Porsche's design philosophy unshakable is its belief that design authenticity is more valuable than design experimentation. Porsche could easily hire the world's craziest designers and launch wild new shapes that go viral online. But Porsche doesn't care about virality. Porsche cares about eternity. Trends last months, maybe a few years. Icons last forever. And Porsche has positioned the 911 as one of the most iconic automotive shapes ever created. Just like a Rolex Daytona or a Coca-Cola bottle, the Porsche silhouette is a symbol. When a design becomes a symbol, it transcends the market. It becomes culture. It becomes identity. That is why no matter how much time passes, a Porsche never feels outdated. Instead, it feels familiar, attractive, elegant, and meaningful. Competition proves this point. Look at brands that constantly redesign their cars. You cannot identify which model is which generation because everything changes so quickly. Some cars look outdated within 5 years, but a 20-year-old Porsche still looks modern, and that is the magic. Porsche understands that to build a luxury brand, you must be consistent. If you look at Rolls-Royce, they also maintain design continuity. If you look at Harley-Davidson, the same thing. These brands are not chasing trends, they are chasing identity. Porsche sits at the same table. The reason Porsche never changes design drastically is because it already perfected the formula. And in engineering, when something works, when something reaches a point of balanced beauty and performance, you don't reinvent it, you refine it. There is also a financial reason behind Porsche's design stability. Familiarity reduces development cost, speeds up production, and creates a predictable, reliable market. More importantly, it creates long-term value. Porsche buyers don't fear depreciation the way other car buyers do. In fact, Porsche models are some of the most stable and high-value cars on the used market. A well-kept 911 holds value incredibly well because its design never goes out of style. If the car looks timeless, its value stays timeless. And this leads to a stronger demand, stronger resale prices, and an even stronger brand image. Porsche has mastered this cycle. Another reason Porsche avoids dramatic changes is the emotional bond between the driver and the machine. Porsche believes cars should feel like tools built for the driver, not for the audience. The cockpit layout, the driving position, the shape of the fenders visible from behind the wheel, the flat six engine note, all of it is part of the Porsche experience. Changing the design would disturb that emotional formula. Porsche is obsessive about the driving experience. Their engineers are not trying to impress the world with visuals. They want the driver to feel connected, confident, in control. They are not designing for applause. They are designing for passion. Because Porsche understands that people don't fall in love with new shapes. They fall in love with emotion. When someone buys a Porsche, they don't sit down and say, I want the newest design. No, they say, I want the Porsche feeling. That feeling cannot be created with a radical redesign. It must be preserved, nurtured, and passed on. Porsche treats the 911 like a legacy, not a product. That is why it is protected. That is why it evolves, not transforms. That is why it remains instantly recognizable. Porsche doesn't compete with other brands. Porsche competes with its own past. Each generation tries to be the best version of the 911, not the best version of a new idea. That's the difference. Porsche's consistent design has allowed it to build an empire of trust. The world knows what a Porsche stands for: precision, heritage, balance, driving purity, and timeless beauty. Brands that constantly reinvent themselves lose identity. Porsche doubles down on identity. That is why Porsche stands alone. That is why Porsche remains iconic. That is why Porsche never changes its design, because it doesn't need to. It has already built perfection and simply improves it year after year, decade after decade. If you love timeless legends and iconic engineering, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me which car story you want next.